Yo, what's up viewers, it's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you again with another What If. This time I'll be bringing you What If Deku had a symbiote, part 4. But before I get into all that, I just want to bring up the fact that I saw the community tab all over my last video, and I love that all you gave support for Ryan. So much so that I decided to try to get this part out as soon as possible. And I'll try to also get the next part of What If Deku had All for One done as soon as possible and get it out to you guys. But with all that said, please start that intro.
I honestly don't think you can become a hero.
Okay everybody, time for that recap. Last time, the slug villain attacked somewhere in the shopping district of Dagobah Beach, and Izuku couldn't stand by to let anybody get hurt, so he decided to go into his symbiote suit and fight the sludge villain. But instead, he ended up getting also on the news and getting everybody to know his vigilante persona, while also doing a quick interview with a news lady, giving out his ideas on what a hero really should be like for the world. But what he didn't know is that his message was going to be on the news and be heard by everyone, especially the girl of his dreams, Momo. Now that we're caught up with what happened last time, let's get into the story and see where it goes. After the sludge villain incident, Izuku realized that he didn't feel as strong as he should have been. He decided that he should have a conversation with Lasher. Hey Lasher, can I ask you a couple of things? What's on your mind, Izuku? Izuku scratched the back of his head, not knowing how to actually ask this question. Well, we were surrounded by fire, and when I launched the brick at the villain, it felt that it wasn't as powerful as it should have been. Lasher felt a little bit sad to tell him this. Well, it seems you discovered one of my two weaknesses. Izuku was actually fascinating, wanting to find out more about his weaknesses. Okay, so fire's one of your weaknesses. What is the other one? Lasher was a bit annoyed trying to think about the other weakness. The second weakness is a very high frequency sound. Izuku was actually a little bit surprised to hear that was the second weakness, as he started to think about something. If I train under those conditions, do you think that you could gain a resistance to them? Lasher started to think about it. I don't know, it's worth a try. Izuku then went downstairs looking for his father, and wanted to ask him if he would help with training. Once he found his dad, he was excited to ask him. Hey dad, do you got a second? Hasashi then looked at his son, excited to see what was going on with him. Sure son, what's up? I know you're on vacation, so I'll make this quick. Would you help me strengthen my weakness so I can properly prepare myself for the UA entrance exam? Hasashi was so happy that his son asked him to help him. It would also give him time to spend with his son. Of course, I'll be glad to help you get ready for the UA entrance exam. I'll take you to a special place where we can use our quirks. Izuku was a little bit confused by his father's statement. What place are we going to go train at? Hasashi got a smirk on his face. We'll be going to see an old friend of mine. The father-son duo headed out. Izuku was surprised to find out that they were going to Gunhead's gym. As the two walked in, Hasashi was greeted by a bro hug from Gunhead himself. Hasashi, my old friend, how have you been? It's been ages. Likewise, Gunhead. It's been too long. I'd like to introduce you to my son. Gunhead then looked down to see little Izuku. Well, Albie, is that little Izuku? He's grown up since the last time I saw him. Izuku then tilts his head in confusion about everything. Wait, Dad, how does Gunhead know who I am? Hasashi just smiles hearing that his son is curious about everything. It's because Gunhead was my best man at my wedding. I also made him your godfather in case anything happened to me or your mother. Even though Gunhead was excited to see Hasashi and Izuku, he was actually quite curious of why they were here. So Hasashi, why are you here? Hasashi then turned to face Gunhead. I'd like your help with training my son so he can do well on the entrance exam for UA. Gunhead just got even more excited hearing their reason for coming. Well, shall we begin then? Without hesitation, Gunhead had already started a training regimen set up for Izuku. First, he would spar with his father to get used to his fire quirk. Since Hasashi could breathe fire on him, it helped Izuku so he could overcome one of the two weaknesses that he has. Izuku just smiled at his father. Dad, are you sure you'll be okay sparring against me? Hasashi just laughed a little bit. Don't underestimate your old man. Izuku powered up with Lasher, and when he least expected it, his dad caught him off guard with a low sweep kick and began to beat Izuku to teach him a lesson. Izuku then just jumped back, putting some space between him and his father. Hasashi just has a grin on his face. Don't underestimate me, son. I've been training with Gunhead, so show me what you can do. Izuku charged at his dad. I will help you with the second weakness, but before we get into all that, I must see what we have to work with, so remove your shirt so we can see how far along you are. The moment Izuku removed his shirt, Gunhead and Hasashi noticed how toned Izuku was. It wasn't until Lasher spoke up. When I latched onto Izuku's body, he naturally gained super strength and super speed. His body was also developed to be able to withstand my power. Gunhead noticed that Izuku was practically ready for the exam, but he wanted to make sure that Izuku could defend himself without Lasher in case something went wrong. 5-month time skip. Izuku practically overcame his weakness to fire thanks to his father, but after 3 months, Izuku's dad had to return to work, but within the 3 months, they bonded as father and son. Also, he assisted Izuku preparing for the entrance exam. Gunhead was very happy seeing Izuku's progress. You've made great progress on your fighting style, with or without your quirk. Now we will be spending 4 months with a good colleague of mine. His name is Present Mike. He'll be helping you with your weakness to loud sounds. Present Mike then walked into the room as soon as he heard his name. Is this the kid I'm going to be helping out? Gunhead then nodded his head. Yup, he sure is. Now, since we have a short time, every time you feel that the sound frequency is tolerable, Mike here will change the frequency to something even more difficult for you. At first, Izuku couldn't tolerate the sound, but little by little, he was able to get comfortable with the frequency that was being put out by Mike. Izuku became immune to high sound frequency and no longer had any weakness to worry about. Since Izuku wrapped up his training sooner than expected, he had 2 months left before the entrance exam. Gunhead was completely shocked with the progress and didn't know what to do next. Well, since we're finished, so Izuku, how was training today? Inko then walks up to her son. Welcome home, honey. Izuku was just so happy to be greeted by both his parents. I finally finished my training, Dad. Also, Mom, do we have anything to eat? I'm starving. Hasashi was actually confused that his training was over, even though he still had a lot more time before the exam. You still have 2 months before the exam. Isn't there anything else you could do to help prepare yourself for it? Inko starts making her way over to the kitchen. I can make you a sandwich if that's okay with you. Izuku then just starts rubbing the back of his neck trying to calm down his dad, who was worried about him slacking off for the 2 months. Don't worry, I'm going to be cleaning up Dagobah Beach starting tomorrow, and do that for the rest of the time remaining. He then turns to look at his mother with a smile. Thanks, Mom, I appreciate you making me a sandwich. As Inko finished preparing her son's sandwich, he ate and had a smile on his face, which brought joy to Inko's heart. The next morning when Izuku woke up at 6 a.m., he put on his tracksuit and jogged down to Dagobah Beach to clean up the trash. An hour passed and a familiar someone spotted Midoriya from far away. A large, buff man with blonde hair rushed onto the beach right next to Izuku. Young Midoriya, I am here! This person revealing themselves to be All Might. Izuku was in shock. All Might, what are you doing here? All Might just started to laugh cheerfully as he was holding up a bag of bread. Well, I was in the neighborhood and thought I would buy some sweetbread since there's a bakery near the beach. Izuku smiled happily, getting to talk with All Might. Well, I was able to finish my training earlier than expected, so I decided to come here to pick up the trash. All Might just gave Izuku his signature smile with a big thumbs up. Well, young Midoriya, take care and see you around. I expect great things from you. Izuku just waves to All Might, saying to him to be safe. Inside of All Might's thoughts, this kid is amazing, finished his training ahead of schedule, and is doing something where he was standing. As Izuku stood in the clearing of the beach, he was captivated by the sunset, almost as if the sun was going into the water itself. Izuku thought to himself, if only Momo could see this breathtaking sunset, maybe if we do meet again, I'd like to bring her here once I finish cleaning it. Izuku then opened his locket to see the picture of him and Momo, and he closed the locket after thinking that he'd like to share this view with her. He grabbed his track jacket and began to walk away from the beach, only to have his jacket get caught on something. He took a look at what was buried underneath the mountain of trash to find out it was a Harley Davidson soft seat motorcycle. Curious, Izuku was amazed that someone threw something like this away. Surprisingly, the key was still in the ignition. Izuku turned the key to hear the engine sound. Izuku then began to daydream about how it would be so cool if he met Momo again and took her on a ride on this bike. After he finished daydreaming, he decided to pull the bike out and push it all the way home. Once he got home, he asked if his parents would open the garage for him. As both Inko and Hisashi saw him pushing the bike, they were both awestruck seeing him do something like this. Inko started to get worried seeing the motorcycle. Izuku, what do you plan to do with this bike? Izuku just smiled at his mother. I plan to fix it up and get my license so I'll be able to drive it legally. Inko gets worried and just looks at her husband. Hisashi, say something to your son. Hisashi just smiles as he helps Izuku get the bike into the garage. Izuku, if you don't mind, I'll give you a hand fixing up the bike. Inko just gets mad with her husband. Hisashi, would you really allow our son to go driving around on a motorcycle? Hisashi just turns to look at Inko. Don't you remember how we met? Inko remembers how Hisashi used to pick her up on his motorcycle, and she would remember how much the both of them enjoyed cruising around on the streets. She agreed to let him keep the motorcycle. It was 7:30 p.m. and now Izuku got home and took a shower and had dinner with his parents, enjoyed their company. After having dinner, he excused himself from the table and washed his plate and went straight to bed. Inko just watched her son go up the stairs to his room. Have you noticed something different about Izuku? Hisashi was confused by his wife's statement. What do you mean? Inko turned to look at her husband. Well, he seems to be more confident and his baby face is practically gone. Hisashi, now actually thinking about it, realizing that she's right. You're right, I couldn't really put my finger on it until now. Why does he look so different? As the both of them were having this conversation, Izuku was up in his room getting some rest, knowing that tomorrow he was going to be cleaning up more of Dagobah Beach. The next morning, Izuku jogged to the beach that was full of trash, and when he got there he was starting to stretch his muscles so he didn't pull anything. As he began the cleaning session, he got faster and moved at a rapid speed until he didn't expect a small crowd to show up and thank him for cleaning up the beach. He was given a small gift as appreciation of the people who lived nearby. The gift was snacks as apples, bananas, protein bars, and waters too. A business nearby, which was a butcher and a bakery, had heard about the young man who was cleaning the beach and decided to do an act of kindness by giving him grilled chicken sandwiches so he wouldn't lose his energy or get hungry. As he was able to clean a quarter of the beach, it was already 6 p.m. Izuku felt burn on his muscles as he decided to walk home. He slowly ran into All Might. Young Midoriya, how has your training been going? Izuku was completely surprised to see All Might. It's going slowly but surely. I'll be able to get the beach cleaned by the time the entrance exam begins. All Might was extremely happy to hear about Izuku's progress about the beach. Midoriya, what if I told you you were a potential candidate to become my successor? Izuku was both happy and confused to hear this statement from All Might. What? That means that you think that I have the potential to become the next #1 hero. All Might, with his signature smile in full view in front of Midoriya. Yes, my boy, I believe you are the best candidate for this. What if I told you I could pass down my quirk and give it to you? Would you accept it? Izuku was completely overjoyed, but then realized he had to think this out clearly. I would love to accept your power, but what if another worthy candidate appears? I suggest that we wait and see if we can find someone else that's fit for the position. If nobody else shows up, I will accept your power. This had made it clear that nobody else was worthy as Izuku to become All Might's successor. They had parted ways and Izuku got home around 6:35 p.m. and saw his dad was working on the motorcycle. Hey Dad, I thought we were going to be fixing up the bike together. Hisashi just smiled as he looked up at his son. Well, this is my surprise gift to you. He turned the key in the engine and the bike started. Izuku started to wonder how his dad was able to fix up the motorcycle in just one day. Hisashi then stood up as he was wiping off his hands with a rag. The bike was in good condition, all it needed was a few replacement parts to get it to start running. Now I'll teach you how to ride so you can get your license. Izuku teared up at all the things that his father has done for him for these past few months, and was grateful that his parents were there for him. A month and a half later, Izuku finished cleaning the beach and only had 1 week before the entrance exam. During the time that he spent cleaning the beach, his father taught him how to ride the motorcycle so he would be able to take his written exam and pass it, and then he would take the driving test right after the UA entrance exam. In another part of town, Mr. Yaoyorozu and his wife were standing at the bottom of the stairs. "Momo, can you please come downstairs?" Mrs. Yaoyorozu, "Well, we were renovating the house and we decided to move back to the area." Momo was so excited that she let out a squeal of joy, and her parents were happy that she gave off this reaction. Mr. Yaoyorozu then just cleared his throat, trying to get both his wife and daughter's attention. "Since I was nothing but a low-level worker, I had to move to different branches of the company, but I worked my way up to the top, and now I'm named CEO. I decided to go back to our roots." Mrs. Yaoyorozu was just so excited to move back to their old home. "So pack up your clothes because we're moving in 3 days' time. It's also a plus since you'll be close to UA." Momo ran up the stairs to pack her clothes, and she saw the picture of her and Izuku and said, "I got a feeling that I'll be seeing you pretty soon." But that's where I'm going to leave it off this time, guys. Sorry that I can't make it any longer, but this video got corrupted halfway through, and this was like a double take halfway. So I'm basically going to just end it here. Talk to you guys next time. Bye bye.